Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming today.
Welcome to another edition. We are so excited to have you here and talk today with you about building beautiful pages with AttractWell. So we are going to be getting into a lot of screen sharing today. I've got some slides prepared, but before we get into any of that, head into the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know what you're working on in your business this week. We're always excited to hear from you guys to learn more about who we're attracting here into this community. And of course, know the kind of projects you're working on. So let us know. Before we get into our content for today, we do have some exciting updates to our member area that Greg is going to be sharing with us. Hi, Alexandra from Spain. Welcome. You guys continue coming on in. We're streaming in our Facebook group as well. If you're there, welcome. Say hello in the chat. We certainly look forward to having you here on Zoom with us in the future if you're watching this either on Facebook or as a recording. Yeah, Greg, why don't you take it away? Let's take a look at some of these awesome changes you've been making.
Sure. So yeah, this is new within the last week or so. You've probably seen it if you've been around the system a little bit. Let me share the screen. Okay, there we go. So there's been some minor updates throughout the system, like some font size increases in the contact manager and a couple other places to make it a little bit easier to read. But the big changes here that I wanted to mention are relating to the Vault and class editor. So I'll show you both of those. The changes were all around making it a little bit easier to use, kind of simplifying a little bit for somebody who just who's just starting out or doesn't need all the advanced options right away. Those are still there, but then they're just tucked away a little bit. So I'll show you what this looks like. So let me go into, for example, our this pipeline igniter vault here that we have. And actually, you know what? Let me go into one that has more variety of content here. So like the launch challenge. This has been streamlined quite a bit. All the content is at the top. There used to be a bunch of settings on the top. Those are all tucked away down here. Now we've got these, advanced settings, branding settings, entry settings, kind of all joined into the same spot. They're categorized together, so a little bit better flow. And a couple of other nice changes here too. There's, you could always reorder the vault content if you wanted to. With the dragging and dropping here, that's also there. You can make the vault content list bigger, something you could do before as well. One nice thing is that the tabs now are sticky on the top. So like if you scroll down, the tabs stay there. So you can just easily pop over to payments or reminders or whatever without having to scroll back to the top and click on the tabs. It's just a little bit easier to use. And then there's this save vault button that's always on the bottom there. So you don't have to worry about finding the button on the bottom of the page. So that's, some usability improvements there. And let me show you now in the classes, like if I dive into an online class, there's been some nice changes there, particularly with categorizing that wasn't there before. So the setting was still there before lessons unlock. That's one of the more common used settings. This is also new down here. It shows what vaults each class is in. And actually, let me show you that too. If I go back to the class list, that's something new. It shows in each class what vault that each class is in, or vaults if it happens to be in more than one. And I don't think this account has more than one, but then you can quickly see, okay, where is this course being used? Like, for example, this one must have been an AI thing that we had tested out. It's not in any vaults. Okay, you can see that. Makes it easier for you to decide what to do with it. So back to the course editor here. This is a new change. Let me expand that out a little bit here so we have more there. But the drag and drop option has always been there, but the module was, or the category has always been like, it was in a column, something like that. So now they're all grouped together, so you can see more of what this is going to look like when your student is actually in the course. So, and the other cool thing is you can like easily rename them. Like previously, if you had a module title in there or a header in there, you'd have to go in each lesson and edit them individually. Now, for example, you could just take this and pop it over here, and now suddenly that lesson's in that workshop series overview. You want to change the name for all of this, you can just do that and hit update, and it changes it for all of it. There's new settings here, like, if you've got one that you just I want to make a new category for this one, you can edit the category right there, copy the lesson, even view the video right there. If there's a video on there, and you can change the common settings like the date that it unlocks on. For example, if you're toggling between these you can quickly and easily see what day they unlock at. And then, you know, so it just makes it a lot easier to change the major features without even having, or major settings without even having to go into the lesson. Now you can still go in there. I won't save this, but I'm going to, you know, you can still go in here. You have to do that in order to upload the video, for example. If you wanted to do that, you can change the category and some of that, and, you know, provide extra information here, downloads and such. You'll have to do that on the individual lesson page, but this editor streamlines kind of the organizing of the content and visualizing it and the unlocking for those that are doing that. So hopefully this is quite helpful. And that's kind of the overview here. I had posted about this in the Facebook group, but hadn't gone into quite this depth. So hopefully you find this helpful. But yeah, back over to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Really exciting stuff there. If you guys are currently, if you're working on an online course, I think you're going to really benefit from building with that experience. But I think especially for those of us who have existing programs or course content in Vault, it is so much easier now to just edit things when you need to edit them without having to go through and modify one at a time. So really, really excited about that update. Thank you, Greg. Jeanette asked if there's a way to see what it looks like for our clients or customers. So you're actually able to log into your own member area using your same login information as you do for your AttractWell account. And you'll be able to see exactly what they see, and you'll be able to interact as yourself if you have discussion enabled inside of that vault.
Yeah, and I can
Awesome.
show you that here quick. I've still got the screen share up.
For sure.
So when in a given class, for example, if it is in a vault, it will have a view class button here, and it'll pop up in a new window. This is exactly what Ashley was talking about. You know, you would just fill in your same contact information as you do for logging into your own account, and then it'll take you right there. Once you're logged in the first time, it won't even ask you for that anymore because it remembers you. So now the second time I come in, it's going to be logged in, and then you're logged in. And this is essentially what it's going to look like for everyone who's in the vault, with the exception of you can do a couple extra things like deleting posts and scheduling posts and a few other things that you can't do as a student. But yeah, that's how you do it. Nice and simple.
Awesome. Awesome. So who here is in the process of creating a website with us, or maybe building a page? What is a page that you are working on right now? Is it a home page? Is it an about page? Seeing some very excited knees. Awesome. So what are you guys working on? What is the page on your site that you are currently working on, and what does it do? Homepage, gotta give that a little bit of love. Awesome. Landing page for a new lead magnet. Fantastic. Keep it coming, you guys. Need to figure out how to connect the buttons. Lauren, that's definitely something that we can chat about. Let's see. Oh, Denise says, I have someone helping me equals stress relief. Yes, we 100% have a team who can help you. And they are, like, you guys are going to see some tips from me. The folks who do our, like our done for you, the concierge team, they're so much better at this than me. That's why they do that work. And so, yeah, if you guys want done for you on anything that I'm sharing with you today, AttractWell.com/concierge, stress-free. Awesome. So homepage is done. Awesome. Working on an online course, updating homepage for a new lead magnet, redoing homepage, landing page, authority page, blogs, and should they go out as newsletters? So we actually have a training on specifically newsletters. So Lauren, actually, would you put that into the Q&A for me? Because I don't want to lose that, and I want to make sure that we that we talk a little bit about that so that you are answered, I think, more thoroughly. So I've got a few slides that I've put together just to get us started, and Greg and I are going to pop out a video so that these look good on the recording. By the way, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where these replays go. You can be the first to know about them. And of course, you know, we want to make sure that we're getting all the good stuff to you. It's also great for reference. So today we're talking about mastering page design using Canva in AttractWell. And if my computer would like to, okay, here we go. So today we're going to talk about page design basics using the AttractWell page builder using Canva to enhance your designs in the AttractWell page builder. And then we'll get into live help and Q&A. We do have 2 live reviews scheduled today as well. So if you are here for your review, make sure you let us know, maybe just pop into the Q&A, let us know that you're here, and we'll be working with you after we get through our content for today. So if you are watching us on YouTube or in our Facebook group where we are currently streaming as well, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours if you would like to join us live on a Zoom like all these awesome folks have done today. If you want to work together live on a call like this one, like several people have signed up to do, you can go to attractwell.com/work review, and we can work on anything you're working on together in dedicated space on a call like this one. And if you need a hand, if what I share with you today is not enough to make you confident and happy to go and create your own pages, you can have someone create it for you, and they can do incredible work. So you can go to attractwell.com/concierge to learn more about that option. So I wanted to get into some page design basics before we go and actually show and tell. Page design is the principles that you follow in page design is very similar. It's a very similar set of sort of guiding philosophies as you would use to decorate your living room, right? And if you think about it, the space that you are creating on your website, on your business, your brand, your personal brand website, it is sort of like inviting people into your home. It's your home online, right? So you're wanting to create a feeling with your brand. You're wanting to cultivate an experience that inspires a specific action, right? So a lot of these principles, if you enjoy interior design, for instance, these are going to, I think that they ring pretty parallel, just to give that start. So the first thing to remember that is even more important in web design than it is in designing a room is that less is more. Think like if you were designing a store where you are featuring products like a brick and mortar store, a gallery, a boutique, something like that. Less is more. You want the stuff that you're highlighting to be the highlight. And if you put too much next to it, you're detracting from the thing you're trying to draw the eye to, right? So what we're trying to draw the eye to and to get people to engage with is content. So what you have to say is fundamentally more important than anything that you are designing, making it cute, making it pretty, etc. Obviously, we are going to be more happy with something that hits all of the notes that we're looking for. But if you had a well-formatted page that just had black and white words on it, that can be as effective, if not more, than, a very busy design on a page. Also super important, and this will save you from overwhelm and stress, is to really be clear on the purpose of the page that you're creating before you get started. We know that we want a home page, but what do we want people to do, right, when they go there? We know that we, maybe need an explainer page on our site that might go into a little bit more detail about one of the things that we do or that we offer. What is it that we want it to do? We're not just trying to get someone, for instance, to learn or watch a video. We want them to ultimately schedule a consult, right? Opt in and become a lead, whatever that looks like, right? So be clear on the purpose. And how we get clear on that purpose is by asking ourselves, what is the action that we want the visitor to take? Okay, so very important question you want to ask yourself before you even get started. So let's get into it. We've got, let's see, the sales page. I wanted to kind of look, we're not going to get super duper deep into a specific example because we're not really working on copy today. This is much more about design. But I wanted to, be able to provide you guys some contextually relevant examples. And I want to maybe not do a home page here, just because we want, I really want to illustrate the idea of bringing people's attention toward a single action that we want them to take. And a homepage is usually a place where we have a few directions people can take, right? A homepage is sort of the last thing that you do that pulls together everything that you've already done. So let's start with a template to make our lives easier. I'm going to use, I'll just use this one. All right, so this one's called Mission. It is nice. It is, it's already designed. You can actually see when you preview that it has, you know, it's got a nice, clean, basic design. It's definitely not in keeping with Jane's color palette here, because we've got all these like roses and pinks. So a couple things that I want to talk with you guys about before we start getting into the design of the page. You don't have to follow this philosophy with every page that you create, but it is an important one to consider applying as often as possible. And that is this idea of equating this top section here to what we call above the fold, or the view that you have of a folded newspaper for sale on the bodega counter. So you're going to buy that newspaper because the article that's listed in bold headlines is interesting and you want to read it, right? There's not going to be a lot of fine print. There's not, it's usually more image. It's evoking, you know, something in particular, and there is a specific enough amount of information to make you want to buy it, pick it up, take it home, right? So this is above the fold. What we do above the fold is critical because it's going to do two things. One of those, in this case, is if somebody is already primed and ready to take an action, we want to give them the opportunity to do it right now. And that's why we actually have a button right here above the fold. We also have a fairly minimal amount of stuff happening, right? And that means like visually stuff happening. There are just 2 lines of copy here and a button, because we need to make the point very simply. And obviously, if somebody is not ready to take this action right here, then they can continue scrolling, right? So let's talk about above the fold, this section here, and how we can go about creating visual interest and kind of practicing good design guidelines. Now, this is already a really nicely designed section. You've got some great contrast between this white font and a very deep, dark, saturated background. It's a very high resolution image that's here. You'll notice also that this is set up, I believe, it's actually not set up as parallax. This would look really nice as a parallax background as well. So it's, you know, it's pretty solid for mobile. It is a little big, right? And the tree is kind of in the middle. There are some ways to fool around with that. Let's actually take a look at that real quick. So on our mobile view, I believe this is the tree over here on the left-hand side. So maybe we can center this image, and we might like how that looks a little better. And the font is not too big, but we'll get into mobile responsiveness in a little bit. And we do actually have a training that's more dedicated to that. So one thing that I want to show you, this is a section editor right here. It's this pencil. When we come over here and we see this image, you can see that there is an orientation, left, right, up, down, center, right? So I'm going to center this. Oh no, look at that. You can actually incorporate different elements of this image if you prefer. I like the more tree focused one. So I'm going to keep this top setting here, but I'm going to center this to the left right orientation. And let's take a look at mobile again. There we go. That looks so much nicer, right? You see how the trees have now moved on this mobile view. It looks great. And here again, you know, this is the tablet vertical view. It looks good. So that's an example, right? If we wanted to, and since I mentioned parallax, you can actually check parallax. And essentially what it does is it allows for a kind of scrolling over. Do you see how here? So previously, before parallax, it was like the words were stuck to the picture. Now the words are floating over the picture. So that's how parallax works. And when you have a really nice image like this, Parallax is a great way to incorporate visual interest without creating something busy. So you could certainly choose to use something like that. This would be a great opportunity to incorporate parallax and have it look nice. So if you want to change the colors of your font or your buttons, you're going to use this edit content tool here. And you're going to want to select whatever it is that you want to edit. So right now I have the whole field selected, but I could also choose to just focus on this block or this one or this one. So what I'm going to do here, I'll just select the whole thing. Maybe I want to change my button style, right? And I obviously haven't renamed these buttons, but I can change the button style right here. Obviously, I can modify the font size, the font family, etc. I actually, even though that was a really nice, clean looking white with black outline button, having something that is visually contrasting, like in a striking way, is going to draw the eye more effectively. And it's going to help somebody, really make that decision more expeditiously to take that step you want them to take. So in this particular page, the goal here above the fold is to get somebody to download a guide. If you were setting this up as maybe an informational page where you talk about, programs that you offer in person and people need to, maybe have an exploratory call with you before, they're able to buy your services, you would maybe put book a call, right? So we can actually say book a call. And then of course, in the page settings, you would go in under lead and you would create your form, set it up the way that you want it, etc. Right? And we do have other trainings on that. Now, what if you like the idea of having text here? Maybe there's a great deal of contrast in the actual image. Maybe there's light and dark contrast, and you're just not seeing a way for the copy that you have here to visually pop out. One really great thing that you can do is to use the edit element styles here. And again, select the entirety of the sort of box that you want to work with. And then you can create opacity, right, in the actual section there. So I'm going to change this background color because that font is white. I'm going to change it to black. And now you can still see the trees behind it, but you are creating more of an opportunity for that white font to pop out. Do you see how much more strongly that appears than here, right? This is so much easier to read. And what you're saying on the page is literally more important than those trees, right? So don't be afraid to use elements like this to help create more of a focus on your copy. Now I want to talk about how we can use color in interesting ways and to use images that you create in Canva to create really compelling or interesting sections on your page. So let's just pretend this section here is maybe this might be an above the fold one instead of this one. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this guy. We've been through that one. So we want this section to be above the fold, or one of these sections will be above the fold. What I'm going to do here is create a couple of page section backgrounds. Now, I've already created some here, and I've used the blog banner preset. That's my personal preference. It does not have to, it's not the only way you're going to want to go about doing things. Just so long as you have a really nice resolution image, you're going to be pretty good to go, right? Like there's a way to position a background image, but if you want to be strategic, like I'm about to show you, then you may consider using these. Now, basically all I did here was I went to Canva and I went to create a design and I typed in blog banner. And that blog banner is 2240 by 1260 pixels. And then I just started using elements, and I'm just going to go and get back into the one that I was just showing you. So I used elements, like abstract elements. So going into elements, I searched abstract, and, you know, used things like this, colored to fit the palette, and placed them in, you know, in sort of varying ways, right? So this one actually has a few sort of like a drippy paint situation. Another sort of splatter. This would be great in a section where maybe you've got some images on top of it to create some dimension. These are like pinstripes, I think, that I found. I made that a long time ago. This one's really cool. And these also are elements that were put together into a pattern. So these are all just, and this is an image, and all of these you can tell are within a sort of set color palette. This pink is the same pink throughout, right? So I've created a range of these, and I highly recommend that you create a few with the intention to use them together. And I want to show you how you can use them together to kind of create the illusion of, and I'll actually show you some examples here. Obviously, when you're using our page editor, everything is very, sort of horizontal. Here's a block here, and then the next block, and then the next block, and so on, right? So here's a black block that has 2 columns. Here's a white block that has 3 columns. And so it is very clean, and it's mobile responsive, and it's great. But if you want to have it kind of flow and pop off the page, then you might incorporate using color, not just by putting color in the background like this, but adding, and I'll show you how this works here in just a second, but adding images that that help to create a continuation or the appearance of a continuation. So if I have a color pink in my background in the previous section, that's going to make this look like the image is continuing down. So I'm just going to go ahead and download some of these. And I will show you, and this is why I actually don't use the Canva button in AttractWell for this specific purpose, because you want to actually create a few of these that you'll use. So let's get back over here, and I'm going to upload, let's see, I'm going to delete this guy right here. Okay, so I'm going to go and edit this section here. I'm going to change the background image. And I'm going to use this one. All right, so I'll add that. And so you can see how it's hanging behind these images, which is kind of cool, right? It's giving some sort of texture, it's giving something interesting, but it doesn't look great with this black above it. So let's give it the illusion of being a continuous section. All right, so now we've got that done. I'm gonna go ahead and change the copy here, the color, so that it stands out. And if we go and we preview, do you see how it looks like it's actually going, like it's bleeding from one into the other, and it actually is sort of drawing the eye down. Right? When you do things like this, you're helping to encourage scrolling down the page. It's a great idea to have an opportunity for someone to convert above the fold, right? If they're arriving there from social media or your content where you've been promoting the thing, they don't need to be sold on it. They've got the opportunity to go ahead and say yes, right? But now, if they're scrolling, they haven't had the opportunity to, or they aren't ready to say yes. So now it's our time to sell them. And so if we do things that are drawing our eye downward, then we are encouraging the scroll and for people to engage with content. So I want them to do this. I want them to take action on this right here. So I think I'm going to use, let me look at some of my backgrounds that I created here. I can use this one in one section, but I really like this, and I like how it's pointing up. Now, we could reverse this, right? I could actually go into Canva. I'm going to group it, and then I think you have, yeah, here we go. I could actually flip the whole thing over, right? And I could orient this differently. And the cool thing about this is that once you have created designs like this, you're able to use them throughout your site. right? You can just, change them up a bit. So what I've done here is I have actually created, this is just a solid block, but I'm putting that up here because I want this to be able to connect to another solid colored section. So this image will be like, it'll create that continuation effect. So with that done, there we go. I'm going to download this version. And that is page 4. There we go. So we can take a look at a couple of different ways to work on this. So if we were to maybe, for instance, that one that was pointing up, the original one that we created, we could actually pop down here and go to the background here, change the image, and here's that one that's pointing upward. Right, so essentially, to sum up kind of what we're going for here, and you also, of course, want to center this. Am I in the right section here? Maybe we need to, there we go, I see it. Excellent. So do you see how we're kind of creating this, drawing the eye here, right? That is absolutely something that I recommend doing, right? So just try to keep the range of colors to somewhat of a minimum, or just make sure that you are creating negative space so that you're drawing the eye down and keeping balance. Okay, so now we've been talking about this this background, the section background editor. There are a couple of cool things that you can do with this as well that can create more visual interest on a page. What I'll do here is I'll go back and I want to remove this image. And maybe I want to have this kind of pop off the page. I want a shadow to give it some contrast. So I'm going to go down here to shadow opacity and increase the opacity. And then I'm going to increase the blur intensity. And do you see how, without even adding busyness or elements, we're creating a 3D effect on the page where this call to action is drawing you in, right? It's visually drawing you in. So this is another, again, a more subtle thing that you can do instead of kind of going coloring book or color by number or getting too many busy elements happening. You can actually create that interesting sort of lift and shadow using the sections. You can do that with your element styles as well. And this allows you to get into like maybe an individual image, maybe this one. We want to increase our shadow opacity here. And do you see how it is kind of lifting off the page now? Here, let me move out of here and I'll show you. Do you see how it's kind of lifting compared to the others? Let's take a look at the full view here. So yeah, do you see how much nicer that looks? See how flat this one is on the page? And this one, just because we increased that shadow, it's lifting and it looks really great, right? So definitely take advantage of creating depth in that way. Another thing that you can do with these, with this element style editor is to create interaction and engagement on the page with animation. And when you're using the element style editor, you can actually get really dialed in as to what you are animating. So I don't want to animate the entire thing here. I just want to animate the button, right? So I'm going to click the button and I'm going to go to animation and I want it to wobble. And I want just the slightest possible delay. And so we can draw the eye again to that element without creating too much busyness, right? We can draw it in right there with that animation. Consider using that as well when you're scrolling. So if you have a 3-image section like this, consider having these come in from the left at the same time, and this come up from the bottom, and this come in from the right, right? And those are, again, really simple and easy to do. We can just select this, and we'll fade in left, and we can do that after, 0.1 or 0.2 seconds. Totally up to you. Let's do this one. We'll fade in right. 0.1, and then we'll get this guy in the center here. And we will fade in down. And there again, we can go and preview what this looks like. Pretty cool, right? Did you see that? You can delay longer as well because obviously these animations are happening very close together. So you're seeing all of those happen at the same time. So in this case, we could actually modify that animation to maybe wait, 0.4 seconds. And we'll do that for all of them because we want these to animate at the same time. It's as we're drawing the eye down, right? We don't want to draw too much attention away from that call to action button. Okay, so we'll take a look at the preview. Right, and now we've got those spaced out nicely, which is pretty cool. Now, a couple of other things really quick. Obviously, when you're using a section like this, especially if you're using like a lift here, where it really is supposed to look like something that's popping up off the background, an image like this is really nice. If there are other really cool ways that you can incorporate images, like let's just say, for instance, we wanted to have like an about section, like about you or something like that, and we had a 2-column section here. Maybe we want to have a picture of you, right? And so what we'll do here is I'm going to use a logo setting. It's just 500 by 500 pixels. I'm going to delete this one, and we'll pretend that we have a picture of you. But photo of woman, we'll go to photos. Let's get a little bit more, we'll say professional. Okay, here we go. So let's grab this, and this has a nice background, but it's not going to be our entire background. And obviously, depending on where your picture was taken and what else is happening, you might, not be in a setting behind you, like what's behind you might not look awesome or optimal for how you want to use the photo. So we're going to go to Edit Photo, and this works in Canva Pro, by the way. When we go to Edit Photo, we can hit Background Remover. And now we have this great image. So we're going to make it as large as can fit. And I would go with slightly larger than logo. I think maybe, 900 by 900 pixels, something like that would be great. I'm going to download this with a transparent background. Remember to do that, because what we're going to do next is really cool. What we're doing here, and Canva actually is doing something strange for me. It's not working. It's not actually giving me the fully edited photo. All right, well, forgive me. Let's pretend that this is working. Canva is being a little wonky right now. This has happened to me actually. Do you see how? Look at that. It actually didn't edit the photo. Let's try it one more time and see if it sticks. Okay, so we did that. We'll download it. Transparent. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if it's going to work. We'll see. Last time. So I particularly like, oh, perfect. Now we have it. Okay. I particularly like using this in like an about section, or maybe a section where you're introducing yourself. It's just a really fantastic way for you to feature a picture of you. And you could also use, pictures of products and things like that that you want to highlight. And it allows you to show up and be really kind of versatile in how you're showing up. So this is maybe about, right? Now, you'll notice she's looking off to the left. This is not effective. The better move here is actually going to be where you have an element that has any sort of visual indication that it is pointing in a particular direction. You want it to point in the direction of the action you want them to take. So if we want people to maybe want to learn more about you or look at what's in this section, we want to move her so that she is looking at the stuff on the page. So we're going to use our column editor for this. And we're going to click right here. And we're just going to swap. And there you go. And what I think I'd like to do here as well, I think I want to, because I'm not going to put a ton of content in the about section because it is going to lead them to another page. I want to make her a little larger. Now this has to add up to 12. So you can't, no matter how many, how much you have in here, the columns need to add up to 12. Now, if we wanted to maybe duplicate a section here, that's another thing that you can do. We could actually decrease the size of these, and I'll decrease them quite a bit actually, and then you can copy these and move them around, right? So these are all options that you have available with the column editor. This is one in particular that I think is important if you are designing for mobile responsiveness. And again, we do have an entire training on mobile responsiveness and creating mobile friendly websites. But the key takeaway that I want you to remember here is that when you're designing a page and you're putting all of this effort into your page, don't worry about mobile until you've designed the page you want, because things like animations and these shadows and the formatting and all of the work that you've put into it, you want to be able to have that completed when you duplicate so that you aren't having to reinvent the wheel for your new section, right? Okay, so that is our overview. Generally speaking, I want to emphasize that it's important to keep negative space on the page so that you're able to provide a chill experience, right? For people to actually take in the content that you want them to take in. Err on the side of less is more. Definitely take advantage of the things that I shared with you today to help draw the eye down and toward that point where you want them to convert on the page, which is often going to be to click a button, to open something up, to buy something, whatever that might look like. So if you have questions, feel free to add them. But these are really the general basic design principles. If you know what it is that you want them to do, provide them an opportunity to do it right away, right? With clear and quick and compelling information at the top of the page that is really easy to see, and then use elements to engage and draw the eye down the page so that they don't lose interest and they ultimately move toward the place where they are going to click and convert for you. All right. So I'm glad you like that, Nick. Okay, so we have in the Q&A, yes, Maisie, I was talking about backgrounds that I make in Canva and then bring onto the site. That's correct. If you want to have like interesting textures and stuff like that, or even image-based backgrounds, which can be a little trickier, you do want to give a little lift like behind the text in a lot of cases, but you can actually create really cool stuff that flows together. So the example here was, here's a solid color section, right? So you can actually see the background here. And then I've created this image that is the same color that has just some of it in the same color, just some of that same color there in that element. And that means that when you're scrolling, that, it's actually, it feels like a continuation, which looks really cool. Okay, one more question, and then I'm going to get into our live reviews. Lauren says, can I send my blogs out as newsletters? And do you have a newsletter template? Real quick, I'll show you this as well. There is the AttractWell Success Academy, where you're going to actually be able to search for those very specific things. And we do have a training on that. So if we go to Success Academy, and we go to live training and replays. This is also in these live trainings where we have resources. They're mentioned here. So this is where we would search for newsletter. And that's going to search the YouTube channel of AttractWell for newsletters. And so there are templates here. You do have the ability as well in the blog editor to send out the contents of your blog. So that is something you can do as well. We have an auto excerpt feature that you could send the excerpt in lieu of the blog's content as well. Okay, so we have for today, I think I saw that Frank is here, and I think that Megan is here as well. So let's get into it. Let me find you guys. All right, Megan, come on out. Glad to have you. How can we help?
Hi, how is your day going?
Great, thanks.
Awesome. So I started my website and I did the classes and the vaults, and I recently joined the launch challenge or the funnel challenge, one of those two. And I got the information, the document on how to funnel them correctly, because I did have somebody join and we're both confused. We're both a little bit confused on the payment option, the options that I have on there, because she really just wants to be able to make a payment. So my question is, should I name a payment plan after her and then have that be an option? Or is there any way to give her something almost like individualized as a payment plan? Since the options I have up there, she can't do either one of them right now.
Got you. Yeah, absolutely. So what you would do, which one of these would this be?
The ABC Intentionally Plus videos.
Okay. Yeah,
And so what she's doing, I apologize. What she's doing is she wants to take both classes and I'm just doing one big coaching price for her. And so should I put that just in that vault because that's where she's at right now? Or can I make that? What I did was I put it in the store. I put my coaching service in the store.
Okay.
And because I priced it at $600 and she's good with that. She just wants to break it down into individuals, but I don't know how to do that from the store. Is that something I should just put it on the vault?
That's, you're going to want to do, because it's a payment plan. So anything in AttractWell that is multi-part payment, you're going to want to put here in the vault. So I would give it her name. So you can put her name here as the coupon code. And this means that it's not going to show up as an option for anyone else.
In the coupon code. Okay.
So just put her name here. And so when she goes to that vault checkout page, she can put in her name in the coupon code, and then this payment option that you create will appear. And so this would be, coaching all in or whatever, right? And this is friend. And this is recurring payments. So, if you're taking 600 and we're breaking it down into $100 every month, let's see, then that's basically more or less how you would set that up. Or Greg, how would you do that if this was going to be if this is going to be like $100, like a payment plan, $100 per month for 6 months?
Yeah, that's the initial payments option there. So you pick 100 for however many months.
Got you. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it'd be $100 a month for 6 months.
Okay.
Then you give her name and then the tag, etc. And then you would add the plan. And then yeah, once she goes to the checkout page, which the link is right here, then she would just put in whatever the name you gave that payment plan.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, the funnel part, I think I just need to finish the funnel challenge.
Okay.
But but I know my pages, I don't think they're quite aligned correctly. If you could look at because the member area wasn't going up. So when they come onto the website page, the homepage, at the very bottom, I have the option for the courses. And well, how does it look? Well,
I like where you're going with it. This is really cute. I want to see side by side a bigger image of you next, and then this stuff on the right hand side, like you on the left, because you are kind of pointing a little bit, right? Like the eye is moving to the right. So I want to see you on the left, and I want to see this information on the right in a column. And you could definitely keep this background image here. It might be helpful, and this is kind of to one of the first points that I made earlier in the training. It might be helpful to certainly use the image in the background, but use that feature that I showed to kind of create a block behind this so that it's lifting off the page a little bit and it's not competing with the background for you to be able to read it quite as much.
Okay, lifted shadow box.
Yeah, that would be using, here, I'll show you real quick. That would be using the element styles. And then you would be, well, there's a lot going on here. But yeah, you would basically just be, here, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you how I'll do it. Okay. So this is not the right editor. We want the content editor. And I want this to be that picture of you, which I assume is definitely in your site photos. There she is. Love it. Okay. And then I want to copy that text. I want to copy, and then I'm actually going to paste plain text here. I'm going to remove this as well. Okay, so I'm going to delete all this other stuff that I don't want. And then I'm going to use this paste plain text feature. So we're not copying over any of the formatting.
Oh, the clipboard.
Okay.
Over.
Oops. All right. So I think we're good to go here. So we'll paste it into the document. All right. So, oops. Hello. That's not what we want. Let's just make it all this 36. That's fine. You can obviously make your changes to it.
You're good.
Okay, here we go. So what I would do here is this, and then we can add that background image, the plants that you've already put in here. There we go. Obviously we can bring those up a bit. And then what I would do is here, I would use the element styles. And that's where I would create this background color, right? And you could add a little padding there, from the left and the right, and kind of center it a little bit. This is also going to help it to be mobile friendly. And I would also, so this image, do you see how there's quite a bit of space beneath it? In Canva, if you can make sure that your image is all the way at the bottom, then there's a way to actually kind of make it look like you're coming out the bottom of the section. So this would be like aligned all the way to the bottom of the section. And that would be nice. And this is what I would typically recommend, to be fair. I would maybe consider another way to look at this is to not use the image background here, or use a solid color background, right? And have you really connected down to the bottom here, right?
Okay.
And then use that image just by itself, in a section right here. So I'm going to delete this and let's pop that, because it's okay if the plant is like right next to where you're talking about growth, right? It doesn't have to be in the same section. So we can put that one here and we'll increase the padding so we can see it. So I'll give it, 200 some a piece. And then we'll center it and we will make it parallax background. And that way, and obviously this top section isn't complete, but when we go to preview, you would have this really nice, here's you do this, but then as we scroll to the next section, here's the growth that we're talking about, right? So that's the nice thing here. And does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And one other thing that I would make sure of is because you are on the left here, this is going to stack on top of this on mobile, and that's not going to look great. So I would actually make this a desktop only view when you're done, and then use the column editor to flip this around so that you are on the other side. I mean, it's a little less ideal, but you're not going to be next to it in a mobile view. So if you take a look at this on mobile, there you are. Right.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's in the direction of what my recommendation would be.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, is there any way at the bottom of that page? I have the videos, courses, and I have it under click here, but they actually have to click there to get to the link. Is there? I think I did it incorrect when I
So do you want to link the images?
Click the pic. Yeah, like make the image clickable.
Yeah. So you just click the image and it's this insert link right here.
The insert link. It's almost like a right click when you're in there, right? Or you just have to double click it for it to come up.
Yeah, you just click it. Yeah, if you click it, its menu pops up if you're in the content editor. Yep. Okay. So you can kind of make your images into buttons that way.
Okay. Image into button. Thank you.
Sure thing.
All of my questions today.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out. All right, Frank, thank you so much for your patience. Glad to have you here. How can we help? Can you hear me? If you're able to unmute, we are able to chat. Oh, Nick, pages are always going to be a work in progress. No website is the same forever. Ours has changed so much and it's always changing, right? But once you have a design that you like, there are ways to just kind of make tweaks over time. So, okay. Frank, are you able to hear us? Are you able to chat? Maybe let us know in the comments or in the Q&A if you are still able to talk and want to talk with us and get some help today. Nilda, I see your hand up. Can you let me know in the questions or the Q&A? Okay, so you can hear me. I can't hear you though, Frank. Are you able to, let's see. It doesn't look like you're muted. But I wonder what your audio input might be. If you look on Zoom, there's a little microphone in the bottom left corner where you have the ability to mute yourself. If you click the little arrow right next to it, it'll show you what your microphone input, like so your sound input source is. So if you're able to check that, then maybe we can hopefully hear you and we can talk. In the meantime, Maisie asked a really good question. I noticed you used muted colors. Is bright okay? Absolutely bright is okay. You just want to be judicious in how you use bright colors because you can create visual overwhelm. And I'm scrolling through your site right now. I know I'm not sharing my screen at the moment, but I think that you are doing a nice job. I think that I would err on the side of not using quite so many colors in the text, or if you are going to, just create more white space. But yeah, absolutely. Rainbow connector, how could you not use bright colors? So yeah, I really like that. But just make sure that you're creating enough white space so that it's not visually overwhelming. I'm particularly a fan of how you're creating the white sections over the bright ones. So are we able to?
Can you hear me
Frank?
now?
Yes, hi.
Hooray.
Yes, we did it. Awesome. How can we help, Frank?
Well, I've sort of built out my site, but I'm the national poster child for attention deficit disorder, and I'm really feeling some overwhelm because what I'm trying to do is, once a major client that I've been working on for the last 2 years finishes up this quarter, I have no other business coming in. So, I want to get my platform set up so that I'm promoting the stuff that I do and getting a stream of clients. And I guess I'm trying to figure out a soup to nuts, step-by-step plan that even somebody with ADD like me can follow and get it done. Because I love the content that I get on these office hours calls, but they're sort of like shiny objects to me, and I wind up getting distracted.
Understood. Yeah. So what's your goal then? Like what's sort of, yeah, what do you want to do? And I can give you the soup to nuts.
I serve family-owned lower mid-market companies, mainly in this big project is in the oil industry. And so, really what I want to do is to help my clients to not be tied to their desks, to be present with their families, and to have a freestanding business asset as opposed to being self-employed. So I love doing videos. I love writing quickly digestible content. But I want to, I guess, I want to get these people in the pipeline, so that I'm, closing higher ticket stuff and not necessarily, dealing with really small amounts of money for a lot of work.
Okay. So what do you want to sell?
Consulting services.
Okay. And
I wouldn't mind if I was able to set up some kind of an evergreen program where I had courses that supplemented that.
Oh, for sure. Okay, but starting with what you have right now, you consult. Obviously, you are probably pretty clear on exactly what you want to charge. So what I would do is make sure that you have a clear name. So what are we going to call it, so we can kind of brand it. So it's not Frank's time.
On my site, and the pages are not connected to a menu yet. That's something else I've got to do. But I have names for each of the 3 processes that I'm most likely to zero in on.
Got you. You know what? I see them. I see them right now. Okay. So you got family succession matrix, business exit glide path, and enterprise on autopilot. All right. Fantastic. So then the next thing that you would want to do, and this is the path you would follow in like the client funnel challenge, for instance. So what you're selling, it's got a name, and you're probably able to kind of rattle off what the journey looks like if you were to talk about it, or if you were to write about it. Somebody starts on the enterprise on autopilot in that path with you. It's not purely linear, but it's more or less something that you could explain in a fairly linear way for people to be able to understand easily.
More or less, yes.
So what I would do then is identify a very high perceived value outcome from that line, right? From how you work with clients. If they pay you all that money, what's a thing, a concept, an idea, a tool, a something that can help somebody who is your ideal client get a benefit that would really put a lot of value up front for them to see that, oh, wow, this guy really gets it. I'm I'm ready for this, right? And it also gets them onto your list. So that's your lead magnet. So the first step is going to be, because you know your program and you know its process, is to figure out what you can take out of that program to dangle as a carrot to get leads. And so once you figure that out, you're creating that lead magnet, right? So that it could be a video, it could be a series of videos, it could be a PDF, it could be a combination of things, high perceived value. And then that's what you put above the fold on your homepage. That's what you talk about when you're creating YouTube shorts or, you know, TikTok videos or wherever you're showing up with your content, you know, to get exposure. You're talking about that free thing, right? So you're talking about the subject, the thing that matters to them. You say, hey, by the way, I've got this, you know, exit off ramp, you know, guide or something like that, or training that they would, again, perceive as a high value. And you're now promoting that, and that gets them onto your list. And then if you're following what's in the client funnel challenge, which that would be the steps that I follow. What you create in the client funnel challenge is actually more important and critical to your business than a homepage, because it collects leads. And of course, you can connect it to your homepage and do all that kind of good stuff. But that's where I would start. Your soup to nuts is going to be to create a lead magnet that is specifically contextual to your offer, and then get out there in the world making content as you like to do, and promote that so that you're getting leads.
My homepage, it looks busy now. It was really busy before. And I'm just trying to figure out how to, that part, but then they get down to the next page or the next section, and there's a lot of stuff there, and I'm trying to figure out what should actually be there.
Yeah, so I would, in a section like this, you definitely want a higher resolution photo of you, because this one's a little bit grainy on a bigger screen. I would maybe not use, I would either not use the background image, or I would create this sort of floating section to cover all of it that is you and this.
Okay.
Right. Just because we want, there's a lot going on here. There's the image we're processing in the background, but then your picture has its own background, and then this has its own background, and it is kind of competing with the detail of the photo, and it's a little challenging to read. So yeah. So I would actually break it up just a bit. I think that this is fine. You might get even just a little bit more concise with it. And maybe if there's a longer story, you have that on another page, right? Because what they're doing here is, you know, what we want to do in this top section, you already have your logo up here, so you don't really need to have it here. This is where you would be placing that lead magnet. This is where you would say, get my training and, you know, learn how to keep more of your money, or whatever it is that you want to give away. That goes here above the fold. And then a brief section here that kind of talks a little bit about you. And then you're saying, hey, if you want to learn more, here's my about page, right? So that this would maybe go to the about page. And the consult is something that you could certainly still have on the page. But the main thing we want to do once you've got that lead magnet set up is to put that offer here, because you want to be going out into the world and saying, go to my website, go to my website, go to my website. And right there, when they land, it's like the copy of the name your favorite, you know, newspaper when you walk in to get your coffee, and, you know, in the gas station or the bodega or whatever, you go in, you see it, and you're like, oh man, I got to get that, right? That's what we're doing here. So they go to your website, bam, oh wow, that's a really attractive thing that he's offering me. I'm going to put in my name and email, and I'm going to get it. And then of course you're going to be telling them to book a consult a lot in the email campaign that follows.
Okay. Last thing, that video right there in that first section obviously doesn't work very well on a device, and I'm wondering if you have any suggestions, at least, as to how to.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a look at that mobile view. Yeah, I think in an instance like this, if you aren't in love with how it's showing up, and because it is a that video in this background, let me see. Yeah, like we're not going to be able to really adjust the orientation of the video to maybe like show more of the baby's face or something like that. I would, if you're married to using this.
I'm not.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
I like it a lot, but I just I want it to work more than I want my creativity to be shown.
Got you. Yeah. So in this case, what I would do is hide it on mobile, and then, make a copy of it. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I want to make a copy of it. There we go. That is not hidden on mobile, and I would remove the video.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So mobile, no mobile,
okay.
and then only mobile. And then you would actually just like not have the video here.
I have one last question. I think you saw that little pop-up form that from the template. I don't know. I don't know how to modify that, and
Yeah.
I'm not. Is that necessarily the best thing for the demographic that I'm trying to go after?
Not even a little bit.
No.
Yeah, so that's under settings and then under leads here. Now, this does have an exit intent pop-up. So if the person tries to leave the page, it pops up. If you don't want that to happen, you can uncheck this. And then this is where, and again, once you have figured out what that thing is that you are giving away in exchange to grow your list, you're going to get rid of this guy right here, and you're going to put something else here where you're going to say, get my white paper or watch my video training or whatever that might be.
Do you have a preference as to what the thing should be? Should are white papers better than PDFs, or what?
So it's going to depend on your audience. It's what do they respond to? So yeah. I can't imagine if I was targeting like Gen Z right now that I would make a PDF. I would probably make a video for them.
My avatar client is a 45 to 55-year-old male, first marriage, 3 kids, really good to his employees, but finds himself not present with his family because he feels like his business can't run without him.
Okay. He's going to care way more about the substance than however you're giving it to him. So whatever most effectively delivers the thing, like the reason why he is going to click is because you just told him how to solve a problem that's really hurting him right now, and you're not asking for anything other than his email address. And so if it's video and download, if it's a workbook, like whatever that is, I would, again, if you're plucking it out of your program, deliver it as a lead magnet, however you would deliver it in your series of calls or however it is that you're working with clients. Good. Right. So imagine you're working with a client, but maybe you're just using a video, or you're writing an email, or you're giving a PDF, or whatever that looks like, or an audio, whatever. You could cover as many bases as you want to, but I would treat it, you're basically giving them a glimpse into what it's going to be like to work with you when you're giving this to them. So I would just make it as similar as possible, obviously, without them having to be on a call with you.
Well, I'm pretty good with video, and I've been told that I'm pretty warm in the way that people respond to me. So, the video idea may be something I'd not really thought of to that extent. I may want to pursue that. Yeah,
absolutely. It is one of the easiest ways to connect and build trust. So, and quickly, it's one of the quickest ways you can do that. So I would definitely consider that for at least some portion of it. And you'll learn in the Client Funnel Challenge, in that series of videos, that we actually recommend on what we call an authority page for you to be there on video to congratulate them on what they're doing, because what you're ultimately trying to do here is to move them as quickly as possible, if they're ready, to a call with you. So, that second page, after they put in, yes, give me my guide, they're going to go to a next page that's like, hey, that guide's on the way to your inbox, but watch this video I made for you real quick. And you're going to, you know, extol all the virtues of getting on a call with you right now.
Yeah, I need to
Feeling
get back into the challenge because I realized I was distracted again, ADD. But the challenge was giving me some clarity, and now I understand more how it will work. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Yeah, glad to help. Hope you'll come back.
Well.
Awesome, awesome. Nilda, I see your hand up. Can you let me know in the chat if you'd like, if you need to come out and chat with or talk, or if you have a specific question, we're happy to help. Or I don't know, maybe your hand's up as an accident. So I just want to make sure that you are heard. Amazing. I'm so glad that you like the challenge. Yeah, that's it's the first thing that we created. It's kind of due for a makeover in terms of the tutorials that are in there. The concepts 100%, those are evergreen, they last forever. What's taught in there is still the truth today. But AttractWell has improved quite a bit over time, as have our pages and things like that. So you know, definitely be looking out for some refreshes on that. Looking toward the end of the year. Awesome. All right. Well, you guys, if that's it, we certainly look forward to working with you again next week. Awesome. For all of you guys who just like stuck around for all of this, I hope you learned so much. We will be back here on Thursday, same time. And until then, head into our Facebook group. Let us know what else you want to learn about. And maybe we will do a training on a topic you asked for. We'll see you next time, guys.